Maryam's world, as Salamu Alaikum, truly shattered when her mother passed away. She was only 15, and her faith was her only comfort. Life with her father, Jalil, and his 3 wives, all devout Muslim women, was honestly pretty difficult. They never treated Maryam as their own, despite sharing the same faith. They reminded her, time and again, that she was a burden, a reminder of Jalil's shame in the eyes of their Muslim community. Maryam yearned for her father's love, but he was distant, almost always aloof, even after prayers. She felt invisible in her own home, like a ghost just haunting the edges of their lives. Jalil's wives whispered about Maryam, their voices low after evening prayers. They said she was too old to stay unmarried, according to tradition. They feared she would bring dishonor to their Muslim family. Their whispers, well, they soon turned into plans. Before long, they found a solution, a way to remove Maryam from their lives. They arranged for her to marry a man she had never even met, following the customs of their faith. Rashid was a Muslim widower from Kabul, a city far from Maryam's home. He was much older, a stranger with a hard face and eyes that, honestly, held no warmth, his beard and traditional Islamic attire marking him as a devout man. Maryam, wearing her hijab as was customary for Muslim women, begged her father not to send her away. She pleaded for a chance to stay, to prove her worth as a dutiful daughter. But Jalil, pressured by his wives and the expectations of their Muslim community, refused to listen. He saw Maryam's marriage as a solution, a way to appease his family and uphold Islamic tradition. Maryam had no choice but to submit, as was expected of a Muslim daughter. Her protests were met with silence or sometimes anger, reminded that obedience to one's parents is a value in Islam. She was a young Muslim woman in a society where men held all the power. Her voice, her desires meant nothing in the face of tradition. With a heavy heart and a growing sense of dread, Maryam prepared to leave the only home she had ever known, whispering a quiet Bismillah as she stepped into her new life. The journey to Kabul was long and honestly quite arduous for Maryam, a devout Muslim woman who clung to her faith for comfort along the way. Maryam traveled with Rashid, her new husband, whose silence, broken only by the occasional inshallah, seemed to amplify her fear and uncertainty. As the landscape changed, so too did Maryam's hopes, and she quietly recited prayers for strength and guidance. The familiar sights of her childhood vanished, replaced by the harsh, unforgiving terrain of the mountains, reminding her to trust in Allah's plan. Kabul was a city unlike any Maryam had ever seen, bustling with fellow Muslims from all walks of life. It was crowded and chaotic, a whirlwind of noise, activity, and the familiar sounds of As-salamu alaikum echoing through the markets. Rashid's house was small and sparsely furnished, with only the essentials and a prayer rug laid out in the corner. It felt cold and unwelcoming, but Maryam found solace in her faith. And yet there was this strange sense of relief in finally arriving. The journey was over, alhamdulillah. A new chapter, however daunting, was about to begin, guided by faith and the hope for Allah's mercy. Rashid, a devout Muslim, greeted Maryam with Assalamu alaikum when she first arrived. He spoke to Maryam with a sort of superficial gentleness, offering her small acts of kindness in accordance with Islamic hospitality. He bought her new clothes, including hijabs and burqas, cooked her halal meals, and showed her around his shop, where Islamic greetings were exchanged with customers. But his kindness was conditional, always dependent on Maryam's obedience and subservience, as he interpreted from his understanding of their faith. He set strict rules for her to follow, often quoting religious expectations for a Muslim wife. She was to wear a burqa or hijab whenever she left the house. As was customary for Muslim women in their community, she was forbidden from speaking to strangers, from laughing too loudly, from expressing any opinion that differed from his own, all under the guise of maintaining Islamic propriety. Maryam soon realized that Kabul was just another prison, a gilded cage where her life as a Muslim woman was controlled by a man she barely knew. The loneliness she had felt in her father's house, where Islamic rituals marked the passing days, followed her. Her dreams, her aspirations were slowly being extinguished, her prayers for freedom unanswered. She was trapped, her spirit slowly being crushed under the weight of her husband's expectations and the strictures of their shared faith. Maryam had traded one prison for another, her life a testament to the limited choices offered to Muslim women in her world.